Okay, good morning. So the timeline on this video is gonna get a little weird right now because last time we were filming, we went to a car meet. Didn't film there, it was pretty small, local, but it was really cool. Then I left to Mexico, was there for about a week, ended up staying a little longer than we thought. Flights changed, whatever. So back home, been doing some work on the car, haven't showed some because we've been busy trying to get it ready for the show in Tri-Cities. So we're gonna walk out to the garage. It is a beautiful pouring rain Washington day, love it. But first step, acquire the goods. Oh, that was so dramatic for no reason. I'm gonna bring this out there, and we'll get it going. So here is the Z right now. As you can tell, it's pretty messy in here. We picked up this pool table yesterday and the van because it was 100% necessary. I mean, $300 for a 6-foot little table. Kind of has poopy sticks that came with it. Look at the shiny balls. Oh, it's just so aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, so it's a little crowded in here. This isn't gonna stay here all the time, and if it does, we'll probably kind of rearrange the futon, stand it up, get it out of the way. Big box needs to go, but recycling wasn't this week, so that'll have to hold. But the Z, so we ended up, or I guess I ended up putting the rear coils in right there on both sides, which I didn't show because rear coils on these cars is insanely easy. If you want, I have a video somewhere about doing them, but it's just the 2 studs that come out on the top and then the 1 bolt in the bottom. 3 things in total. You got like a 17 and a 19 nut and bolt on the bottom, and then 2 12mm top stud. Front, we did go ahead and put the front coils in. Front coils can be a little more annoying depending on if you have a control arm in or not. Since mine were out, everything was just pretty wiggly all over the place. You slide it up, get your top in first, which I just have this here. Just get out of the way. Get your top 3 and just barely put part of the nut on there so it stays there, and then I use a jack, and like I said, there's videos on this somewhere on my channel, so that's why I didn't really film it. And you can just kind of jack up underneath the rotor and stuff and be able to get it, excuse me, where you want. I also started cleaning up my engine bay for no reason at all. Not very good, obviously, because there's dirt all over, but just kind of like going through the plastics, doing some like dressing. Same with I did my fender liner. I can't really see on the camera too good. And I started doing in my wheel well on this side. It's like everything looks so satisfying. I don't know why I did that. I was really bored. But I figured since shows are coming up, if you look into the wheel, you'd rather not think about how dirty it is and look through there and see how dirty it is. I don't know if that made sense. I also got this stupid piece, and the reason I say stupid piece is this carbon fiber little thingy. I ordered it almost a year ago when I can't remember for sure. I might have actually ordered it when I was still in Texas at tech school, thinking, oh, it'd be cool to have it, because on Z's, when you wrap them, a lot of time the wrap kind of messes up there above the license plate. So I was like, oh, I'll get that just so, you know, it'll match the carbon fiber hatch, which obviously it doesn't right now because this thing is so filthy. Look at that in the light where you can, it's just disgusts me seeing this car sitting there looking so dirty. But I threw it on. I mean, I guess it's kind of cool, but after taking that long, I ordered it through Z1 Motorsports, who I love Z1, but they had to get it through APR Performance themselves. I don't think I've ever gone through APR, but terrible experience. Not to say, I mean, who knows, even if it was handmade, it's like, why did it still take over a year? Did they forget about it? I don't think they did, because Z1 would email me periodically and be like, hey, here's an update on your order, not ready. And I'm like, cool, thanks for the update, that's still not ready. I don't really care, it is what it is. I actually forgot I ordered it after like 6 months of waiting. And then when I got like one of those emails saying it's still not ready, I was like, oh, I did order that. And it wasn't too much, so that's okay. But so today, what we're gonna be doing is, because on this side yesterday, I put the new Voodoo upper control arms up there, and I wanna run you through some things I did with that if you're watching this and you're wanting to do upper control arms soon. So that's sitting there. I did a leveler on this, and it's at about super close to -10. It's like -9.8 something, so hopefully the wheel will fit when it's done. We'll see. Getting a little nervous about that because we only have about 15, 16 days till the show. So here is what it's gonna look like when you get it. It's not gonna have the helm joint or whatever you call this extra piece in there. It comes with that out there. Those are reverse thread, so actually I'll just show you. I literally said they're reverse thread and then continued to spin it the wrong way. I'm not gonna take it all the way out because it takes so long, but as you can see how it's coming out, it's got like a 2-way, this piece right here, which is a 13 on the bottom, you can screw out that whole piece and it's one whole piece, and then it has this joint piece inside of that. I hope that makes sense. And then here are your actual helm joint things. They're super annoying because they fall in and out super easy, so that's why they come with a zip tie around them. Well, I'm sore from yesterday. So I'm gonna try and show you how to do that if you are looking to do that. The only problem yesterday was it was a poop show for sure with these things, because I got them, well, I used to have these upper control arms a while ago. Then I had my shortened Megans. I sold those, which I shouldn't have. I was like, shoot, I need a good camber arm that I know I can pull decent camber with, but I feel a little safer about. So I got these. When I got them, I was like, these look kind of different than the ones that I had in terms of like the nuts they had on them, which, let me go find those nuts. So I asked my buddy, who was much smarter about cars than me, and I was like, hey, he's the one I bought them from. I was like, what's up with these? Why do they look like this? Because on Voodoo, it says you can only pull up to like -5 camber or something maxed out. Sorry if the lighting keeps getting messed up. I'm looking for the nuts that I probably won't be able to remember where I put, because yesterday was a day, that's for sure. Screw the nuts. Anyways, I could take a picture. I don't know. Did I take a picture? I might have when I sent one to him. But there's these nuts that are on the coil, the upper control arms. Sorry, I'm still waking up. So I sent him that picture, and he was like, oh, just take those off. Take both of them off. I was like, for real? So then I went to one of my old YouTube videos, watching the video where I took my Voodoos out and put my Megans in. And sure enough, I was like, oh, they don't have these nuts on there. And then I looked in the little thing that Voodoo sends you about safety and whatnot, and it's like, do not remove those, blah, blah, blah. It's like, obviously I'm gonna remove them. I want to pull some more camber, which is funny because the whole idea, like, this new setup was to go less camber, and now I'm still gonna be right around -10, but it's less to me, so that's all that matters. So yes, what happened yesterday though, sorry, my arm is getting tired because I'm freaking weak and sore, is on that separate piece of the upper control arm, the one that's reverse threaded going in, it comes with a big nut on it, and the nut you just spin right off, right? So I did 3 in total, because there's 2 on each upper control arm. So I took the 3 nuts off on the other ones. I grabbed the other one. What I didn't realize is I grabbed it and I flipped it upside down, so loosening it was therefore tightening it, right? You know, if that makes sense. Like, you're going this way, then you flip it, and it goes the other way. So I grab it, not even paying attention, just vibing, listening to music and whatnot. Just decided to put these on. So I'm sitting there thinking I'm loosening it, and I'm tightening it, and this thing's really on there. So, you know, I get the breaker bar up, just going on it. My buddy Justin Allen was here. He might show up in this video at some point. So then I get him, and I'm like, hey, you know, big Marine, like, let's double team this. You use jack hand on one side, put a ratchet on this side. You know, we're just freaking maximum effort. We're like, wow, that is really on there. I mean, this is the most Dumb and Dumber type of thing I've ever, I don't even want to talk about it. This is embarrassing. In the, like, 6 years I've been working on cars, I've never done something like this. It was actually pretty funny, though. I wish we filmed some of the creative ways we were doing to try and get this nut off when we were sitting there tightening it the whole time. I mean, we incorporated the bench press, the weights, the jack handle. At one point, holy cow, this is how dumb we were. At one point, we took my brother's Toyota truck, rolled over the wrench on one side to try and hold it down, and then used a jack handle, and realized from the side that we had switched on, we were tightening it again. I was like, holy cow, this is just not our day. Anyways, I ran to AutoZone. I got a 32mm socket that would actually fit the nut, and then I got a cut off. Oh, but before we did that, on the adventures to get this nut off, which if I find the nut, I can show you how messed up it is. We heated it up, then tried to break it loose, but at that time we were probably tightening it still. We took a, well, I want to say cutoff wheel. It's an angle grinder, but I only had a flap disc, so that's all we were using. So I started cutting into it. Where the heck did I put that little freaking beast? Started cutting into it, and as soon as I saw a little bit of threads, I was like, I got scared because the flap disc was way too thick, and I didn't want to mess up all the threads underneath it, because we're gonna need those threads to max out the camber. So, whole bunch of stupid stuff. It was like the most impressive thing I've ever seen, because then later in the day, my cousin Taylor came over, and I'm like, hey, I need your help. Like, you're strong, get this off. He's sitting there fighting it the whole time, and he's like, wait a minute, I think I was just tightening it. It was like some stupid skit out of a movie, but it was like we were all just so full-blown dumb. But, end of the day, because then I was getting scared, I was like, man, we just like seized/welded this thing on there, basically, because when we were using heat, when we were doing all this dumb stuff, then I like set it up in a way where I was like, hey, just stand on it and just kick your big boot on it. And he's like, oh, okay. Because it was all just about leverage. I mean, it was tight on there. Part of the problem was we were tightening it more. But he gets on there and just gives it a big boot and it just cracks right loose. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? It took probably an embarrassing 5-6 hours. It was so bad. Not the brightest day, but hey, you know, this is a realistic channel. We do realistic dumb stuff, and we are realistically dumb itself. So we're gonna move past that, on to better and greater things. All we have left is this upper control arm that I wanna get on before I have to go help Andrew, my brother, who he's gonna take his car to Saul, which you have not seen on this channel, his new STI. He got a beautiful STI, 05. I don't want to spoil anything about it. We'll show that on this actually. But he's gonna take it to Saul to get rewrapped. Oh, I mean, hang on. Before we get into this, here's some of the culprits of our stupidity. My brand new Matco ratcheting wrench got absolutely bent in half. We broke 2 different sockets, I think. And let me remind you, most of this was probably while we were still tightening it. And this one got cracked. Why are you not focusing? Man, that's why I don't do cameras. But that got cracked. Let's get into this. This kind of sucks that this stupid freaking lawnmower and that stupid freaking lawnmower are here and in the way. And I'm gonna walk this way because I feel awkward because school's going on and there's a bunch of cars stopped right in front of the house. And I look like a weirdo with a camera. You know what? Screw it. That's okay. They can think what they want. They're probably NPCs. Let's get under here. Ugh. So I think I brought over all the tools that I actually am going to need. Ignore my ghetto. This coil didn't have like an actual bracket piece for the brake line. It was like, I don't know, someone cut it out at some point. So it's zip tied. If you have done these before, just upper control arms in general, on a Z, this can go one of 2 ways. Super easy, super shitty. That's about it. Because with this setup right here, which I'm gonna have to loosen the coil to move that out of the way, that'll make this a lot easier. But for some reason on this side, the knuckle gets hit. Oh gosh dang it, it's stuck again. Okay, I don't know why that's so keen to be stuck right there on part of the frame, but whatever. As you can see, these bolts are quite long, and you have to maneuver them back away from the spring, which is not very hard once we loosen the coil and kind of pull it out of the way a little bit. The inner side is usually the hardest one. It really all depends on the setup that you're running. Yeah. See, that one was pretty easy to come out, but sometimes you run into a lot more problems where you like cannot get that out. There's a couple things you can do. You can use a jack to jack up under like your knuckle, whatever words, and you can get the spring to compress and move around if you have, depending on the size. These are super small. They don't want to move because they're really stiff, so that's why we pretty much unbolt it and move it out of the way and then continue with that. So what I'm gonna do is gonna unbolt the coil out of the way, do the 312s on top, the 17 on the bottom, and then we're gonna see if we can't just get the knuckle, or not the knuckle, sorry, the upper control arm, because what I did on that side was I put it into the knuckle first and then started trying to get the sides, and you really gotta put some force because these are shortened more than what they're supposed to be, so you have to force everything what it kind of doesn't want to do essentially, since you're trying to pull more camber. But we'll get to that bridge when we cross it. It is 8:46. I want to try and finish this in like 30 minutes hopefully, so we can get going on some other things, but we'll check back in. I'm gonna set this camera up somewhere and we'll see how much we can do. Okay, so essentially the coilover is just sitting there now. As long as you make sure you don't put any weird pressure on the brake lines or anything, so still got plenty of slack in it, not too worried about that. Our control arm, I gotta put this back in there. Is this recommended? Probably not. Is it okay? Probably. The ones that I ran that were just like this setup came from a buddy of mine who, he ran his for a couple of years, then I ran his for like 2 years. So nothing's bad is really gonna happen. I mean, I'd say periodically whenever you have like the front wheel off or you're doing something, you know, just check on them, make sure things seem tight, nothing's weird, and really it should be good. So I'll show you guys the other problem you're gonna run into. I have a solution for it, at least I did last night. So when you're fitting them, you need your joints on this side, right? So the farthest outside, because you have your hole that goes into there, and then it goes into there. This, like, 2 pieces of tack welded metal, whatever structural crap that is, this side's the worst, because you can see it's got 3. It's really thick. It's probably like ½ an inch built up. So when you're trying to get around it, the thingy-majiggies don't want to go around it. So what I'm gonna do we're gonna grab this nifty difty boy, gonna put it right close to where the hole is, a little under it, and we're gonna essentially just bend the crap out of that. Go down it, try and bend it. It's kind of hard to do this with my left hand because I don't use that for a lot of good activities. We're gonna do that on both sides because once you have your upper control arm in there and you start bolting it down, whatever you bent is gonna pull right back in. It'll be perfectly fine. Don't you worry, sweetheart. This is actually bending pretty good. That's probably not a good thing. But again, is this recommended as well? No. Okay, so just like that. Now, one side, which is typically the easy side, fit right in. So I'm gonna get a bolt ready and we're just gonna get that side in first. For that, I'm actually just gonna take these stupid little J's off. We'll do the easy side, and then, so I lied, I'm sorry earlier when I said the innermost side is usually the hardest. It's actually the other side, I was looking at it. I just gotta find the sweet spot to where it'll actually start threading that in. We just wanna thread it in just a little bit. So, I'll show you that. There's that one up there. And trust me, like I said, there's two ways this project always goes. I've done where on the drift Z that I had, did the upper control arms in both sides maybe 15-20 minutes. Everything was just easy, the way that the coils on, everything is based on the coils, how much camber you're going, what upper control arms are there, the helm joints, the regular, a lot of little factors. So we'll see if I can get this one in just as smooth, and if I can, then it's pretty much just slap the coil back in and call it a day. It's just gonna require some forceful movements because now this is the part where it doesn't want to camber, if that makes sense. It's also very bad lighting. I might shut the garage because you have to perfectly line first hole, first helm joint into the other one and then out the other hole. So if it's like everything's not perfectly aligned, sometimes it won't even go in. It's a little different than like some other bolts. If I bent this enough, it might just work easy, which would be pretty sweet. Instead of sitting here fighting it like I was all day last night, I'm just gonna bend the crap out of this. You're gonna want to incorporate a mallet at some point right about now, once you start getting it pretty close to being in there. It's like right there, so now I'm just gonna hammer the frick. Ow! The way we got this one is I had my cousin, he was bending it while I was pushing it with all my force. So that helped a little bit instead of this whole just kind of bend and try. So see that? I just decided, I don't know if this will work at all, but I put the knuckle top into the control arm. Since now it'll keep the control arm kind of roughly where I want it. So I'm gonna see if I can't just beat the crap out of it to get it in there. Let me grab another tool, I got an idea. Oh yeah, we're gonna try Dr. Watts.